Hey, this is John. Good evening. Welcome to my kitchen. Tonight I'm going to be cooking again for Stovetop Hero. This month it was Latin food, so here in South Florida, my Spanish friends, they have a nickname for me. They call me Gringo Grande. So tonight I'm going to be cooking
Vaca Frita del Gringo Grande.
Yay! Okay. Vaca Frita. So what it is, it's a flank steak that we're going to go ahead and first we're going to boil it a little bit. We're going to get it so it's nice and tender. We'll shred apart and then we will go ahead and fry it. To go with it tonight, I'm going to make fried plantains. I'm also going to make black beans and rice. I am going to cheat. I'm going to use canned black beans. However, I'm going to spice it up and I'll show you how we're going to do that once we get to that part. So the first thing we need to do is we need to prepare our flank steak. I went to the butcher today and what we're going to do is first, if you look at the grain of the steak, you can see it runs parallel, okay? So initially, you want to make sure that you're going to cut the steak along the grain to start off, going with the grain. However, that's not normally the way you do it. You want to cut also across the grain. So we're going to have littler pieces like this. I'm going to put just enough water to cover the meat. This goes against everything that I know about cooking steak. Boiling a meat just doesn't sound right to me, but we're going to see how it's going to turn out. I'm going to take some carrots, put those in for a little bit of flavor. Take a tomato, cut the center out, cut the bottom off. I'm going to slice that into a few pieces. I'm going to put that in the bottom of it. We're going to take some cumin, put the cumin on the steak. Onion powder, garlic, a little bit of black pepper, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put it on the stove, and I'm going to want to cook this over low heat. I'm going to bring it up to a boil first, and then I'm going to turn it down to simmer, and I should probably have to cook this anywhere. Different things that I've looked at. Some have said 15-20 minutes, others said about an hour and a half. What I plan on doing is cooking at a real low simmer, so it's probably going to take me about an hour's time. So I'll see in a little bit when the steak is nice and tender. My steak has been cooking for just about 20 minutes now, maybe a half hour. The whole house is just filled up with this great aroma. It's been boiling real nice, however, it's still not cooked through yet. It's not breaking apart the way that I wanted to break apart, shredding the way I wanted to shred. So I'm going to give it probably about another half hour. What I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to start spicing up the black beans like I said I was going. I'm using the Goyer beans today, found in the local grocery store. They are seasoned a little bit, but really not that much. I have a yellow onion. What I'm going to do is slice that into little pieces. Okay, I'm going to slice across the grain. Other way. That up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to saute the onions down. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to saute the garlic. Then I'll add the beans. I'll check for flavor. Possibly I'm going to add a little bit more garlic, onion powder, more cumin.
This is what you're adding to the beans?
And the black pepper is what I'll be adding to the black beans and rice. Okay, so our oil's starting to heat up now. We're going to go ahead and add our onions. The bottom of the pan's nice and hot, so we're going to get a nice sizzle when it starts. Also going to go ahead and add my garlic. I chopped up a lot of garlic. I don't think I'm going to use a little bit of it. You can always put more. So we'll give this about 3 minutes to go ahead and start to cook down. Wait till the onions get nice and translucent. Again, I'll look at the steak one more time. I'm taking 2 forks and I'm trying to spread it along the grain to see if it's starting to break apart yet. And it's not. So we're going to go ahead and just keep simmering it. I have the pan set on real low. The carrots are broken down, the tomatoes are broken down, that broth is just looking absolutely delicious. Probably eat that as a soup all by itself. Okay, so the onions are all nice and translucent now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the beans. I didn't dump the water out of the beans, so I'm putting the juice in. I'm getting all the parts that are down on the bottom as well, because I think that's what's going to really be the roux for this. Now you can start to see it's all mixed in. Those onions are there. I'm probably going to let this cook now for just simmer for the rest of the time that I'm doing. Those onions will start to break down. The beans will break down a little bit more. We'll make those beans a little bit thicker for us. Once the onion starts to infuse the flavor, that's when I'll go ahead and I'll check for the cumin, the pepper, the onion powder, and the different things I want to go ahead and put in there to spice the flavor up a little bit. So we're just going to forget about that for now too. And our steak is still doing great. Okay, you can see the steak now is starting to break apart. It's still not done, but this is what we want it to do. We want it to start to split apart. Once it does that really easily, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take it out and let it cool down a little bit. Probably about another 15 minutes. Okay, so I tried the black beans. They're still a little bit bland, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by adding a little bit of black pepper. I'm going to add some more of the onion powder, not onion salt, but the onion powder. A tad of the cumin. And I've actually grabbed some coriander as well. I'm going to use just a little bit of coriander, probably equal parts cumin and coriander. And then a little bit of salt. Okay, so the steak is just about getting done. It's still boiling down. It's almost there now. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to do a little prep work to get ready for the second phase of cooking the steak, which is actually frying it. When you fry it, you're going to go ahead and you're going to fry it in lime juice. I've already gone ahead and made some juice of the limes. I've squeezed some of those down. I'm going to take onions. I'm going to cut them julienne, so they're long strips when they cook down in the steak. With my roasted garlic, I'm going to just mash it up real good. Again, julienne these. Cilantro, we'll go ahead and cut up. Okay, it's been just about an hour and 15 minutes this has been simmering. The steak now, if you look, we take it out, you can see it breaks apart really easy. Starts to get stringy, breaks along that grain line. So this steak is just about all done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it out, I'm going to pull it apart, and I'm going to start to shred it before I transfer it to the next bowl. It stayed really nice and moist for us because it was in all this water, and that's probably part of the reason why you go ahead and cook it like this.
There you go.
Alright, my pan is very, very hot now, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to cook down my onions. Also my peppers. I'm going to do this two reasons. First, I don't want to put my steak and the onions in the pan at the same time because I want the steak to cover the whole bottom of the pan. Second, I want to go ahead and, although this pan is very hot right now, I still want to caramelize these onions. So I'm going to turn the pan down low. Hopefully by adding in the cool onions, it's going to start to cool this pan down for me. Okay, so now I'm going to start to get my plantains ready. Plantains are a Cuban banana or a Spanish banana. Cut both ends off, cut down the middle, put your thumb in between. Start to get that skin and just peel that skin right off and down like that. So a fried plantain is nothing really more than a fried banana. Everything that I have looked at, all the recipes that I've looked at, have always asked for canola oil versus any type of butter or anything like that. I am El Gringo Grande, so I can't help it. I gotta use butter. Gonna use a nice piece, that's probably 2 tablespoons of butter. Put that in my fry pan. Over, let's say, like 3/4 heat. Okay? With my onions, I'm going to take those out. Reserve them on the side. Fry pan back on. again, canola oil. Now the whole trick with the oil is when you're frying the steak, you want to make sure it's real hot. So that way when you put the steak in, the steak's not going to stick to the pan, and it's going to just fry up real quick on the bottom and on the top. Okay, now you're going to add some of the cilantro. You're going to take your limes, fresh lime, okay, my butter is just about ready for my plantains. I'm going to put those in flat piece down first. Okay, so we got our steak here cooking with the cilantro on top.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, I want to turn that up to like a medium high, almost high, because again, the whole thing with our Vaca Frita is the fact that it should be crispy on each side. So you really want to let it brown up real good on the bottom. And by keeping it in a nice hot pan, it's going to do that real quick for you. So now I've gone ahead, and like I said, I've had this over high heat. You can see it's starting to get really nice and brown on one side. Okay, this is just about done. I'm going to hit it with just a little bit more lime juice. Look at that.
That looks good. It smells good.
Okay, so the plantains didn't come out quite as sweet as I was hoping to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to melt a little butter down. I'm going to add just a little bit of sugar to hopefully go ahead and caramelize that. Now the whole trick when you're doing that is you just want to make sure you get that sugar into the butter. Make sure it's not so hot that it's going to burn. Okay, last step. Here we go. We're going to take the steak. We're going to put it in a mixing bowl. We're going to add those vegetables back into it. We're going to stir that just a little bit. Okay, now you got a nice mixture in there. We're going to go ahead and dish up just a little bit. Get some of those nice vegetables on top. Okay, we'll take some plantains. Add the plantains to the bottom. Get some of the stuff in the bottom of the juice so it's nice and sweet. Some of the rice, you can see, because we used the juice before, it has that nice brown color. Probably has a wonderful flavor. Black beans scooped right on top. Make sure we get a nice juice. One last little squeeze of lime on top. Put the limes on the side. A little bit of cilantro for a garnish. And there you go. El Gringo Grande del Vaca Frita, or something like that. I am El Gringo Grande, so if I said it wrong, I can't be held accountable for it. Stovetop Hero, November, Latin food. Here's my entry. Black beans and rice, fresh plantains, Vaca Frita. Look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.